Welcome to my series Atmanirbhar Bharat and You. Let our ignited minds be united, use our euphoric past to be guided, and let the resounding voice be heard. We are the Golden Bird. Hi, I'm Rena Singhvi Jain, author of the book The Golden Bird 2.0 Resurgence of India. Join me as I break this down for you in simple steps so you can not just be a spectator but an integral part of the growth story of your country. This is just the beginning. The current global scenario has brought India at a juncture where it can forge ahead to become the world's next sought after manufacturing hub. But before we get carried away by this Herculean ambition, we must address the numerous gaps in the system. Our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji has directed the nation towards the target of making India self-reliant with the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. He has invited the citizens of India to look through his eyes and aspire for the nation to emerge as an advanced and progressive global trade partner with a significant place in the global supply chain. A glimpse into our ancient past. The Indian civilization dates back thousands of years and is often traced back to the great Indus Valley civilization and known to have pioneered modern-day urban planning. The eminent sophistication with which they built elaborate drainage and water supply systems is breathtaking and remains a matter of astonishment for archaeologists and architects even today. India's contribution to the world's wealth of knowledge does not end with the influence of its religious and philosophical ideas. In fact, it spans across a variety of disciplines. In mathematics, for instance, scholars like Aryabhatta, Brahmagupta, Bhaskara II, and later Ramanujan made voluminous and extremely important contributions to theories of arithmetic, algebra, and trigonometry. Indeed, zero was first conceptualized in India, and the decimal system of notation that is used across the world today also originates from these lands. There is evidence to suggest that in the 14th century BC, Indian mathematicians were already practicing an early form of calculus, 250 years before it was invented in Europe by Newton and Leibniz. In medicine too, Indians were pathfinders. Born in 800 BC, the ancient Indian physician Sushruta is widely acknowledged as the father of modern surgery for having described more than 300 surgical procedures. The architectural marvels of our country are renowned even today, and they form a tribute to the remarkable expertise our ancestors had developed. The Ajanta and Ellora caves, built in the 2nd century BC, continue to be shrouded in mystique, raising many questions regarding their existence. The Sun Temple in Konark is heralded for its intricacy and grandeur, which are difficult to imagine replicating today. Even the Iron Pillar in Delhi is deemed by experts as testimony to astonishing sophistication in metallurgy in its capacity to withstand corrosion. When it comes to economics and governance, the treatise of Arthashastra is widely regarded as one of the first great works in this area, written by the illustrious Chanakya. Across 15 volumes, it covers subjects as diverse as political strategy, war, espionage, the management of kingdoms, wealth, and the organizing of bureaucracies. In fact, when it comes to the matter of economics, Indian civilization has more than texts to offer, for it built some of the most productive and prosperous societies in ancient history. This is best observed with reference to the work of famed economic historian Angus Maddison, who painstakingly estimated economic metrics for the bygone eras. According to his research, India possessed the largest economy in the world in GDP terms for over 1,000 years, from 1 to 1000 AD. During this time, it accounted for around 28% or more than a quarter of the world's GDP. India, the golden bird. In ancient times, India was called the golden bird, Sone ki chidiya, because of its wealth of minerals and precious gems. Even now, it has the fourth largest reserve of natural resources on the planet. These minerals, alongside its exotic array of spices, which were prized commodities in the ancient period, made India a major hub for global trade. In India's medieval era, the country began to industrialize and its manufacturing sector gained momentum. India excelled in this field, especially in cotton textiles and handicrafts, areas in which exports were prized across the world. This was not all. It had a strong industrial base also in shipbuilding, various metals, marble work, stone carving, and leather tanning. In fact, at its peak in the early part of the 18th century, India represented around 25% of the world's total industrial output. The Golden Bird 2.0 Resurgence of India. India is at a cusp with multiple paths pointing at multiple opportunities. Choosing the right path can be challenging but is imperative. In my book, The Golden Bird 2.0 Resurgence of India, I have tried my best to give readers a bird's eye view of what we were, what we are, and what we aspire to become. When every newspaper, news channel, every radio station, and every social media platform has the same news to flash, it forces you to think China is on the verge of upending India's economy. From the pandemic to the border escalation, these far-reaching instances have sparked several anti-Chinese sentiments. But it is important to channel these emotions towards a direction that can benefit citizens and build the nation. We often forget that we belong to a land of stalwarts and undermine our own potential. A quick fact check on and highlighting the past, an audit of the present, and an attempt at the roadmap to the future for all the stakeholders became of paramount importance to me. When you are able to date back centuries ago to the time when India was considered the golden bird, owing to its colossal wealth, and at the same time explore the reasons for the decline of its glory, it helps in building a far more tangible and impactful itinerary for the journey that lies ahead. Considering the magnitude of this vision, there is a pressing need for all citizens of the country to perceive, think, and execute in unison with the government. There have been contradicting views on the Atmanirbhar campaign among several others launched by the government, with some rooting for it and others dismissive of it. We are amidst an austere transformation, especially because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and we have to look at the better, most essential side of this call for action. It is easy to shoot down strategies and new plans launched by the government by casting doubts. However, it is time to focus on being constructive and evolving plausible and practicable solutions to those very problems. We give our short-term losses and gains importance, but remain short-sighted. It is human to think of oneself and safeguard the immediate space of comfort that cocoons us. But if our forefathers didn't take the risks they did to carry the Indian brand across shores, or if our freedom fighters had not fought selflessly for our liberty, what would we revel in today? To further this conversation, drop in your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. If you would like to participate and engage with the Atmanirbhar Bharat and You movement, do like, share and subscribe. If you would like to know more, do grab a copy of my book, The Golden Bird 2.0 Resurgence of India on Amazon.in.